what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another special Mindset Monday episode. They're all special.
Yeah.
With my co-host, Justin Thorstad.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks.
Good. That was Coachella Fest was this weekend, and so inspired by that. I didn't go, but
You didn't go?
Yeah, no.
I was going to ask.
No. So yeah, glad to have you, bro. Again, Mindset Mondays, man. I mean, I feel like we're always unpacking stuff. Honestly, what I like about Mindset Mondays the most, I think, is that it's a checkpoint, right? It's a real checkpoint for us to have real solid conversations. I mean, we just had one right before we click record. And then, create awareness, which at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, it can be so hazy, it can be so cloudy around us, from a mindset standpoint on a regular basis that it becomes, sometimes difficult, right?
Sure.
It can be difficult to just kind of, stay in your healthy headspace. With that, we want to break down the 7 mindset principles of successful entrepreneurs, all right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Kick it off. Do the honors.
Yeah. So, to be a success and an entrepreneur, and in any facet of life, really, like there's just some guiding principles that really support. Yeah.
Let me interrupt there for a second. You were 2 seconds into that conversation?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I needed to hear my voice. Really,
That's really what's going on here.
What does success mean? Let's
Sure.
break that down. Start with that, and then
Great. So success, the definition that I use is the one I got from Earl Nightingale, and that's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
Love it.
So a lot of people think success is like when I earn X amount of dollars, or when I buy that nice house and I get that fancy whip and that nice watch, that's success. And that may be, but success is more of a state of being than it is something you obtain or achieve. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I think it's such a slippery slope because a lot of entrepreneurs are going for success, like the external things, as some form of validation. The problem with that is when they get it, and a lot do, now they're stressed about keeping it. And what happens if it's taken away? A market shift, the economy collapse, whatever the case is. Inevitably, those things happen, right? It's just part of cycles. And so when it's all taken away, then the sense of, well, who am I? And what's my worthiness if I don't have anything is stripped. And now you're headed for all kinds of super negative outcomes. Suicide, all kinds of terrible things. When people wrap up their sense of identity in external objects that they accumulated.
Well, objects, right? Or situations or scenarios or prestige or opinions.
Absolutely.
It comes in many different forms, I think. And it's true, right? At the end of the day, we're human beings. And I think the being part is the one that should be highlighted, right? In everything that we do.
Yeah. So the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, to break that down, progressive meaning I'm just making progress. And I don't care if it's 0.0000001% today. If I made progress towards realizing my worthy ideal, I'm a success.
Right.
Which means I could have made a shit ton of mistakes today, more so than progress. But if I made any progress, and I would argue that if you made a mistake and you learned something, isn't that progress?
Yeah.
You're now better equipped for tomorrow. Yeah. So then the worthy ideal, I was just talking to a gentleman this morning about this. A worthy ideal is something that's so big that you're going to trade your life for it. So it's a matter of, is that worthy ideal worthy of you in your life? Because you're trading your life for it. Not as that big goal, that worthy ideal. Am I worthy of it? No. You got it backwards.
Yeah.
So
perfect. The definition of success, and I think I think it's very, very, very true, right? It's subjective to everybody. Everybody has their own,
definition.
detailed definition of what it looks like. But I think, overall it is, right? It's having the ability to find out who we truly are, what our highest and best is, right? It doesn't matter what industry we're in. At the end of the day, it's still pointing into that bigger, higher version of ourselves, and being able to reach that. It calls for success in my book. Let's jump into the principles. So we have 7 principles that we want to highlight here today, right? With the first one, and you kind of mention it with the progressive portion of it, but it's always moving forward.
Yeah, so it basically just the principle of successful entrepreneurs are always moving forward.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, things always happen that, situations unfold, reality happens, and it's not what we wanted. Things didn't go the way that I anticipated. And so, a lot of people get taken down by that. Reality unfolded. It didn't meet my expectations. I didn't get what I wanted. And that's where a lot of people quit, throw in the towel. Like, it's not going to work out.
But Justin, what about setbacks?
Like, what's the problem with that?
If I have a setback, I can't move forward.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have the awareness that you can still move forward.
Yeah.
You didn't have the opportunity to practice your resiliency, your persistence, your perseverance until things didn't go the way you wanted to. And now, because of that situation, that event was your teacher in order to now be more resourced in order to keep moving forward. Like, there's no finish line. I mean, even when you think that you hit that first milestone, like, cool, congratulations, sincerely. And take a swig of Gatorade, pick up your skirt, and keep going. Like, the only finish line in my book is death.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's very, very true.
But here's why. Like, I believe that our soul, our spirit, whatever you want to call it, is always for fuller expression and expansion of itself. Like, it's creative, it's life. And so what finish line are we talking about? Always moving forward.
And moving, I think it's key, right? Like, there's got to be action behind the stuff that we're doing. Not contemplating, that's a whole different thing. Not theorizing not just theorizing or not just planning. I think one of the things that we get sucked into is the analysis paralysis of thinking over things too much, creating storms or potential threats in our heads that may not even happen, and usually stops people on their tracks before they even get going, right? So moving forward, actually throwing spaghetti on the wall. If you don't have a clear idea of where you want to head, throw some spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks, right?
Yeah, get your head out of the spreadsheet and go talk to some people.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my agents this morning, and that was exactly the topic of conversation, right? The idle mind can do the devil's work, per se.
100%.
And it's easy to get stuck in that stage if we're not progressively moving forward. If not, and being proactive about the action that we're taking, right? Intentional action. So principle number 2, embrace change, right? They create problems they are out to solve.
Yeah, like, a lot of people hate change. Like, when reality shifts, unfolds differently than anticipated, people freak out.
Yeah.
The market shifts. All kinds of things happen in business and the economy, right? It's always changing. And so your ability to embrace that, and in fact, welcome it, is, I think, just fundamental in achieving, like, stratospheric success. Because I believe that successful entrepreneurs, they create in their imagination, like, elevated problems that then they get to go solve. Like, listen, you're going to deal with one of two kind of problems. Problem number 1 is, like, let's say, not enough resources to make a thing happen. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money, not enough connections, whatever. I have a problem. There's an obstacle in my way, and I'm ill-equipped to handle it.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds shitty, man. I don't want to focus on that. I want to conceive in my imagination, like, ooh, hey, here's a business idea that would solve so many problems for so many people. Now, the problem is, how am I going to bring it to market? That's a problem I get to go solve. I don't have to. I get to.
Yeah.
Like, it's a true choice. So
the empowerment alone is in the fact that it becomes a choice, right?
100%. Yeah, totally.
It's not something that's really pressing or kind of destroying you because of the magnitude of the problem. It's like it's something that you choose to go after, and I think it pivots from a problem to a challenge, and that can be easier to consume, right, as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, and if you're conceiving of a problem that you get to go solve, don't you think that just you would infer that that insinuates that you're ill-equipped because you've never done it before? Like, how great is that?
Yeah.
That means you're going to be stimulated because your mind's going to be in problem-solving mode. You know what I mean? You're going to learn new tools, you're going to get an education, broaden your horizons, and be better equipped. And that means then you'll be of more value to more people.
Yeah.
What's the problem? So embracing that change, vital to success.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's problems. They're also, I mean, it's opportunities, really. Like, you have an opportunity to do something better, something bigger, something that you haven't done in the past, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
Why wouldn't you welcome that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3, they stay in a state of gratitude and joy, not focused on what went wrong. And I think that one's huge, man. We talk about the morning rituals and you know, the practice that we have as individuals, and a lot of it, it's really, at least, you know, I know yours. So our practices, I think they're based and centered along gratitude. It's easy to forget because gratitude is, here's the thing, right? Look, we remember easily the stuff that causes us pain.
Yeah.
Right? Gratitude is not necessarily causing you pain, so you have to have conscious awareness of it. You have to make the conscious effort to go back to it and think about the gratitude portion of it. If it was something that was causing you pain, like financial lack, trust me, you'll remember that shit in a heartbeat, right? And it's always going to be top of mind. Well, and we give it attention, even if it's undesired attention, right? However, gratitude can be easy to forget about. Because it's not causing you pain. It was something beautiful, something great, right? And it happened, probably saw it when it was happening, and then you just, you know, took it as a granted, thing, and it, you know, faded away into your past. Bringing that stuff back is huge, man. Thinking about stuff that we're grateful for, the conversations that we're grateful for, the relationships that we're grateful for, opportunities, even challenges, right?
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, it's huge because it doesn't only, I think it counterbalances the stress and the hard times that we go through, right? And we have an intentional method of going about that, which is gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you said it perfectly. It's like,
I know.
to, like, inevitably, things don't always go the way we want them to,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's just obvious. And so in those moments when we don't get what we want, it's so easy to slip into the what's wrong, what's missing, lack, scarcity, all of that. Like, that takes no effort. It's natural for us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, our mind takes these snapshots of situations that unfolded that we didn't like, and so that we can avoid it next time in the future.
Yeah.
And so when you get a new situation that's you didn't plan for, didn't predict for, it's easy for the mind to, by default, go to what's wrong, what's bad, all that kind of junk. And it's like, that takes no intelligence whatsoever. That's what 95% of people do, right?
Yeah.
And so to stay in that state of gratitude and joy just for what is, like, and here's the thing, like, a lot of people say, yeah, but Justin, like, you got to hear about my week. Like, this happened and this happened and this, like, loss after loss after loss, mistake, obstacles. And I'm just like, congratulations, man. So what are you grateful for? And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Didn't you just hear me? Didn't you just hear me? Like, you can be grateful for anything. How about the fact that you have 2 eyeballs and you can see?
Yeah.
How about the fact that you're not in a wheelchair maybe? Or even if you have a disease, you're not dead yet. Like, there's so much to be grateful for.
Right.
And, man, when you're in that state of gratitude, you're giving thanks for a thing, yes?
Yeah.
And if you're giving thanks for a thing, it's because you believe you've received it, yeah? So if you really want that worthy ideal, let's say, that's super big and you're not sure how you're going to accomplish it, man, why not start, like, firing in your brain the belief that it's already come to pass, like it's already happened, and be in a state of thanks for it. And, you know, people might say that's like woo-woo hippie bullshit, and that's all good and great, but how's your way fucking working, right?
Yeah.
So it's like...
But let me know. Yeah, let me know how's your way.
So parts of the brain that start to sync together, start to wire together, and you can literally start becoming the person that's already accomplished that thing.
Yeah.
And the really cool thing is, then when that reality unfolds and the situation occurs and you've received, you'd be like, cool, great.
That's
like, not overjoyed. Because you've already experienced the situation in the past and mentally and emotionally rehearsed it so many times that when it actually finally happens, you're like, cool, that's nice validation.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes validation, right? Not that that unexpected, miracle or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's almost a byproduct of the way that you think, the way that you carry yourself.
Yeah, it is a byproduct.
And to kind of piggyback on what you said about, seeing yourself a certain way, it's I just reread Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey. It's a really cool book. I like the book. I read it twice. There's one passage where he talks about becoming the person that you wanna become, right? Like there's simple hacks of just improving your self image, improving yourself, improving your mindset.
Yeah.
One of them was the guy goes, buy a skinny mirror. I was like, yeah, like like the ones they have at the gym. Buy a skinny mirror, right? And not that I'm trying to do an analogy with fitness or anything, but this is one example of seeing yourself in the light that you want, right? Buy a skinny mirror, like not because it's gonna make you skinny automatically, right? But because if you see yourself that way, you start acting, and
Yes,
behaving,
because
and
you're
seeing
adjusting the self-image
exactly,
to believe that result fits what I feel about myself.
Absolutely.
And therefore it'll drive new behaviors in alignment with the belief.
Right.
Yeah.
And it lines up with that sense of belief, gets stronger, then you become it. So,
Yeah, and you start acting as if.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. Principle number 4, they operate from a win-win or no deal
Totally. Like
position.
this is, win-win is kind of a buzzword.
Yeah.
But I think people really don't truly understand
It's
it.
been tokenized.
Yeah, and it's like, man, like to really understand it on a deeper level of what is win-win. So let's discuss that. It's very simple. Like there's no in-depth conversation that really needs to happen with that. But yet people don't often sit with the concept. And win-win is like, for example, every single business that I'm in or that I start or joint venture, doesn't matter. It's got to be a win-win. In fact, it's usually win-win-win. I'll explain that in a minute. Or I'm just not interested, right?
Yeah.
So win-win-win is basically, am I going to get something of value from this that's equal to or greater than what I'm going to put out to get it?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then same with business partner or employees. Are they going to win from this as well? Like, is it truly in their best interest? And then, of course, the most important person, the consumer, the client, the customer. Are they truly going to win? Is this a bigger, better product or service at a better price? Because if not, why would they be interested? And so when all three parties are getting exactly what they want and then some, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a winning formula because now people want to be involved instead of having to sell them. Like nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to buy. Yeah?
Yeah.
So how do you facilitate that? And win-win is just, man, it's, what you put out comes back.
Yeah. I mean, it truly does. Reciprocity, right? That's one way of it. But take that win-win, even a level deeper. I mean, go to relationships, right? The people around you, the human capital out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and in relationships, even like intimate, romantic ones, right? Well, when she does this, then it's like, that's not win-win.
Yeah.
That's win-lose. Yeah. When you give me what I want, then I'll give you what you want. Like
one thing that I understood a while back was that relationships are not 50-50. They're. I mean, and that's kind of like the tagline, right? Like it's not really 50-50. It's 100%, 100%. I mean, you go all in, then the other person goes all in. And then
it just takes one to shift it.
Yeah, exactly. So incredible. Principle number 5. They are willing to take calculated risks.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Like, a lot of people say going into business for yourself is risky, right? Because there's so many variables and things of that nature. And it's like, I completely disagree with that.
Bro, walking down the street is risky.
Exactly. Me driving where I'm going to next after this is a risk. Yet you get in your car and drive to wherever constantly all the time, right? So it's like calculated risks, meaning like, okay, like one of my deep-rooted beliefs, and if people have watched these episodes, I've talked about it many times, is that I'm not smart enough. And I love that belief about me, and I've held on to it tightly. It's my buddy, because it keeps me from overanalyzing. Like analysis paralysis does not exist for me. Think about it, because the deep-rooted belief since I was a child was you're not smart enough to figure it out anyways. So why bother? Now, that's led to some hasty decisions, right? Yeah. Shooting from the hip a little too much, fire ready aim. However, calculated risks as in like, okay, let me talk to some people that have achieved what I'm setting out to do and at least get some information and a framework so that at least I'm somewhat equipped to move forward. And the calculated risk piece of that, though, is like, if you don't move forward, then what strategy will you use to achieve a bigger, better, different lifestyle?
Right.
Like it's going to take some action, and every single action, there's a risk of you not getting what you want or a negative consequence or you name it. But without that necessary action, there's certainly no win.
Yeah, I think that the calculated part is important, right? It's not. We're not saying shoot and aim later, which is often what happens. Like I've done that plenty.
Yeah, I feel attacked.
yeah. I mean, that was my entire strategy for years. But it's important to get to a point where, okay, cool. I'm gonna assess the situation. I'm gonna move forward. Still, pull the trigger on things. Do not get caught up in analysis paralysis, and be okay with changing. Sceneries or groundwork that's moving. It's just like you have to be okay with that kind of stuff because we can't control everything. We might be able to control or mitigate the stuff within our own little bubble, right? Like I don't know, if you're a small company, you have a handful of employees for example. But then we scale that to the macro. I mean, we're talking economics, we're talking political races, we're talking all kinds of stuff that anything can throw a wrench in the middle of your engine any given day, right?
Infinite things.
Yeah, exactly. So risk is always going to be out there. It doesn't matter if you see it or not.
Yep.
Risk is always going to be a constant. Even if you're a 9-to-5 employee, if you're a W-2 employee, like risk is still out there. It may feel like there's a security blanket because you're getting a paycheck from somewhere, but trust me, that somewhere is going through hoops and loops to make sure that checks are getting cut.
Well, what prices are you paying for that steady paycheck?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think it's a false sense of security, honestly, if you ask me. But
it's like living in a gated community.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So do I. It's okay.
Yeah.
But not because it's... Anyways. Yeah.
Moving forward.
So...
but it's important to understand, right? Like the risk is going to be all around us. One thing, if anything, I think it sets us up in a advantageous spot because now we're almost programming and pre-planning for that risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. That's. I'm so glad you went there. I was going to interrupt you and say it anyways. Like calculated risk as in okay. So if I'm in business for myself and I don't have a steady paycheck yet because the business maybe isn't yet profitable enough to sustain that. Yeah. Okay. Well, every single extra dollar that I do get, I'm going to stash away to have 6 months of operating expenses for my business and 6 months of operating expenses for me personally, my household. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and no, I'm not going on a fucking vacation. I'm not buying the new car. I'm going to withstand all of that until those reserves are built up because wealth is measured in time. Yeah. And if the tax code changes, political things, the economy, whatever, there's an industry disruptor that just came out and now your sales dip down. What are you going to do? So calculating risk, I mean, you can conceive for a lot of the big things and start planning for that ahead of time. Like, why wouldn't you do that? So again, calculating what are the risks and how can I hedge my exposure to that?
I think it also plays into the matter of self-empowerment, personal power, right? And I'm not saying this from an egotistical controlling standpoint. I'm saying when you're used to that kind of dynamic shift in your own workspace,
volatility.
Volatility. You get better.
Yeah,
you get better. It just becomes a thing. I mean, you start looking for things, and like that's where the thicker skin as entrepreneurs starts to develop, right? So if you don't have all the answers getting into it, don't worry about it. Eventually, you're gonna get enough experience under your belt.
If you don't quit.
If you don't quit, enough relationships that you can reach out to, and it's incredible because you'll have, and I feel blessed, right, to be at a point where I don't think I can. I've generated myself a problem that I can't solve by sitting down with it or making a phone call or talking to somebody else.
Your network.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But that comes as as a byproduct of staying with that entrepreneur mindset, being able to stick the stickability of it gives you tools, right, to deal with itself. So.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Yes, that one too. So principle number 6, they empower and encourage others. I mean, that's my whole mantra: empower entrepreneurship.
100%. Yep.
100%.
It's in my vision statement, and it's what it's all about. I mean, and it can sound like catchy, right? But if we
Yeah.
break it down on a deeper level, empowering and encouraging others, like that would insinuate that you have the belief of abundance,
Yeah.
that we can all win and get exactly what we want. And it's not going to have to come in a form of taking from somebody else.
Right.
Like there's plenty to go around. And so I just know that for myself, in the distant past, people that I worked for, other entrepreneurs, it was very much a cutthroat dog eat dog world. And it just never resonated with me. Like this fundamentally is flawed. There's something wrong with this.
Yeah.
And so with those people, they were never willing to share secrets and support you in growing, because then you'll become competition. And I just think that's such a scarcity, shitty way of living, man.
Yeah.
Like, so when you empower others, it's also a sign of abundance. It's a sign of like sharing information and knowledge. And again, you get back what you put out, right?
Yeah.
So like you were just saying, if I got a real problem and I'm not sure how to solve it, I just reach out to my network. I can pick up the phone and call dozens of different people that are more than happy to help me solve that. Why? Because you give.
Yeah.
Like givers gain unless they want to.
Yeah.
You can sit with that and chew on it. You know what I
Write it
mean?
down for homework.
You give unconditionally,
Yeah.
selfless, you know what I mean? Like, because you know that I've been given too, and therefore I'm going to reciprocate, because where there's no reciprocity, it'll die.
Yeah, and it happens. It's an organic, way of living. I think. I mean, there's magic behind that, if you ask me.
There is, and not to get confused with people pleasing though.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's
Being
very
a-
different. Very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, principle number 7, they surrender to reality. Acceptance is inner peace.
100%. Like, I think for entrepreneurs, so driven typically, that A-type personality, the high
Yeah.
D, disc profiles, like they want what they want when they want it. And when reality unfolds, a situation occurs that's not in alignment with what you desire, like it's easy to be in resistance to that. It's easy to throw a little fit. It's
Yeah.
easy to get angry, pissed off, whatever. And it's like, whoa, hold
Yeah.
on, that's your cue, man. Like, why can you not accept what is? This is reality. And lack of acceptance causes resistance, resentment, revenge, like all kinds of negative type behaviors and states of being. That's not attractive for what you want to create. Like a lot of times, I've had the awareness in the past, I didn't get what I want for a beautiful reason. Like I went for a thing,
Yeah.
it didn't happen. And that dead end, literally, is the very thing that caused me to pivot, to shift, and go in a different direction that led to the highest and best outcome that's better than what I originally set out to achieve. It's like, thank you for that. And I would have never pivoted. I would have given up had I been into resistance and not just accept the inner peace of acceptance.
On that note, I mean, I think it's important to highlight, right? Surrender doesn't mean just like kind of laying down and dying.
No.
It's surrender and have the awareness to do a self-analysis of where you're at.
Yeah, surrender is not white
yeah.
flag. No,
Yeah.
no. It's surrender is in, I'm going to let go of my resistance.
Right.
I'm going to accept what is so that I, in here, can be at peace.
Yeah.
Because when I'm at peace, I'm objective. I'm the observer. I can witness what's going on and get new information and learn new things so that I can course correct and grow me.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it all leads back down to inner peace, right? We have that. I think we have the basis of truth. We talk about finding our truth often, and that's impossible, literally impossible. If we don't have a sense of in grip, really, like truly, of inner peace. What does that look like for us, right? What does that feel like for us?
100%.
How do we embrace that? How do we become that person that can own that inner peace, right?
And it's just a choice.
Yeah. So seven important principles of an entrepreneur mindset, right? There's plenty more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty more, and I know we have a whole other list that's coming at you guys. But these are some key things to keep in mind as we're going through the process. We're going through the highs and lows. We're getting punched in the face, right? We have plans that don't go out or as planned. We have, the reality of adversity when we come into the business world. We have relationships that, go south and partnerships that don't work out. You got screwed over. I mean, you name it. There's so many things out there. I mean, I don't know. It feels like it's like we're swimming in the Amazon River, right? Like sometimes, like there's just so much, danger in the waters, right? But at the end of the day, like it can be a beautiful swim too. Like,
you know what? Truth is all a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of obstacles out there. But I think the older and more experience that I get day by day, the more I relinquish that illusion of control and allow it to be what it is. Because my inner peace is the only thing I can control. It's the only thing that matters to me. And it is the source of creation. And so I think trying to...
Let me make a quick pause in there. Like, do not... I want to make this clear, right? It's not like we walk around or with inner peace in our belts 24/7.
Oh no!
Like,
oh no!
This morning,
that's not true at all.
Yeah, this morning I was like, I mean, you walked in and we had a 30-minute conversation about me having my mindset in the gutter, right? For a few things.
Yeah.
And it's about the self-awareness, like coming and checking yourself as you go through this process, right? Which is interesting that this talk actually lined up exactly with the conversation that I was having this morning, right? Funny how that calls. I mean, last week, a couple of weeks, I mean, you were going through it as well. So it goes. It's a constant thing, and we. The important thing about mindset, I think, is that we can mitigate the the lows, right? And then we can really highlight those highs and stay up. I mean, thrive really, not just stay above the water, but you can thrive if you just get a grip on who you are, understand who you are, understand your triggers, get to a point where you see the reality for what it is, right? You have that self-awareness where you can come in and check yourself with no ego,
know thyself,
and look at the bigger picture, look at the bigger the highest and best version of you that you're trying to get to, you're trying to achieve, right? That kind of stuff is powerful when it comes to mindset, and it's easy to get caught up and wrapped up in the noise, to get wrapped up in the lights of everything that's going around us, and the uncertainty of things sometimes, and lose ourselves for a little bit. However, when you have a strong grip on your truth, right, your inner peace, your essence, it's a lot easier to come back and bounce back from that quick. So,
yeah, I don't know how you bounce back without it.
Yeah,
because whatever you're in resistance to will be the object of your attention, and that's where you place your energy. You're going to get more of it. So
many times it's just about getting back in alignment, right? It's not even a complete fall off, the cliff. It's getting back in alignment and okay, cool. Oh, I lost my shit there for a little bit.
Come back, recalibrate, reset.
Come back, recalibrate and reset. Like that's the reality. Anybody who tells you that they walk on clouds 24/7 as entrepreneurs, I mean, they're
full of shit.
Yeah, or they're smoking something, or I mean, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they figured out something I haven't, but I haven't met that person yet. Like there's always that kind of stuff. So, if you're out there and you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you're getting stuck on stuff, just know that you're not the only person like that out there, right? So, and you're not alone. I mean, there's communities of entrepreneurs everywhere. These conversations need to become the new normal. Absolutely. These conversations really do need to become the part of the regular verbiage that we use as entrepreneurs. Not all that, the dick measuring contests that, happen all the time about this and that, because the reality of things is that we all get hit emotionally. The reality of things is that we all get hit with adversity, and then, we fall off alignment, we need that support to come back and
realign,
get back on track, realign. Yeah.
Yep. So
Justin, great 7 topics. I'm going to give full credit to on those 7 topics to Justin because he came up with them. With that being said, where can somebody get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you? Pick a brain.
Yeah, absolutely. JustinThorstad.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and my phone number, 602-348-8534.
All right, fam, and I'm going to ask you if you like the stuff that we're putting together for you guys on a weekly basis. Do us a favor, make sure that you subscribe, you like, you share it, help us spread the love. It's really it's nothing if not a community, right? Like this takes a collective effort to get the word out there. We're trying to put some good stuff in people's minds, and I think sometimes that's needed. Actually, all the times it's needed, especially with all the noise out there.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody who can benefit from listening to this, please send it over. Drop us a review if you're listening to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share to our YouTube channels. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Till then, stay focused. You got this. Bam!